The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more, into the breach do we go, dear friends. And what do we have going on today? Well, as always, we like to meet with you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
NASDAQ's up 6 points. The Dow's up 51 points. Had a little bounce, had a little pullback early this morning, but we're kind of going out flat. Going into options expiration, this was kind of the time where if we were going to probably have a pullback next week, we would have seen a lot of action, and option market makers are getting none. That makes me think at probably there's not that much more to go higher, but at the same time, there's not that much more to go lower. So probably, unless something spectacular changes, I'm looking for kind of a flat on most things next week. And again, kind of hard to beat and be short in expiration week. Normally, if you're going to start moving down, you already start moving down today. Got rid of a lot of my positions here today. I've still got a couple of them. I'm still rather bearish just for the fact that we're way overbought. But other than those few positions that I kept, I think that a great deal, and especially the indexes, could just go sideways for a week. Certainly, we don't have the kind of volume that would say that we're get ready to break out. In fact, we're starting the show today with 1.76 billion shares. Does mean, though, we could creep up a little bit. So could we get another 10 points by the end of next week on the S&P? We could. Could Rocket Man drop a nuke and ruin all our plans? Could. So I can't really be long. I can have some leverage positions, i.e. options on the short side, that kind of thing. So we'll look at it. But basically, I think for me, being fairly bearish, we're going to have to put off any crash for another week. And I don't know if there's much more you can say about it than that. Started basically shorting right around the 2550 level. It's not like the S&P went that much higher. Had some winners, had some losers. But I guess in a tight trading range, that's probably what you're going to get. As far as other things, watching fairly closely to see whether or not Apple will have kind of a little move. It's been expiring right at a strike price every Friday for about 2 months now, it seems like anyway. I'll have to go back and look at it. That it's not at 157.50 or 155 seems a little bit out of the normal range. So this may be the first day it doesn't actually drop on a strike price. But it does look like it could start making an ABC down. You can't see it in the charts because really there are no good Samsung charts, but the biggest cheese in all of Samsung, they call him Mr. Chips, left today. And so it's going to be a new thing for Samsung and kind of a big direction, at least in the electronic side. But I'm not exactly sure that maybe Apple didn't bounce a little bit on the king of Samsung deciding to go on vacation permanently. But that's about it. In the meantime, we have to start off the show with a little bit of history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Movie audiences in America today in 1957 are treated to the science fiction thriller The Amazing Colossal Man. The film revolves around a character named Colonel Manning who strays too close to the test of an atomic device in the Nevada desert and is bombarded with plutonium rays. Of course, there are no plutonium rays. But just a series of movies back in then. 1954, ants exposed to radiation grow to an enormous size and threaten humanity. The Beast from 25,000 Fathoms in 1953 tells the tale of a dinosaur thawed out by an atomic test. Just all kinds of stuff going on out here. Just though this is kind of the end of people really not understanding anything about atomic industry, energy and or weapons. But this was kind of the last big hurrah for that. Everybody started actually going to school, learning a little bit more about it. Of course, a lot of the stuff was top secret at the time. But kind of the end, maybe the beginning of the end of the height of the hysteria around nuclear weapons. Of course, the question is whether or not we'll ever be able to use fusion. I think we'll be able to use fission when that comes around. And maybe sooner than you think. A lot of people are always saying it's 25 years off. But on this day, one of the biggest turkeys of all time, you owe it to yourself to see this, The Amazing Colossal Man, if you ever catch it. Sometimes they've got it on like Mystery Science Theater 3000, but interesting nonetheless. As always, when you're on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And as far as I can tell, no real signals out here that says that market isn't going to just drift up 10 more points over the next week. Horribly overbought, horribly overpriced. But if this market's going to break, it's not giving any signals today that I see. And of course, very hard to short a stock or an index into expiration unless you have some kind of overwhelming signal by the time you get to this week that things are going lower. I heard some other people talk about maybe a signal Wednesday next week or later next week, and that may be true. I would love to see it. I'll buy some puts on Wednesday's close if it's true. But at the moment, all I can see is decay in option premiums and ETFs and in probably the VIX too. So probably a good kind of few days to maybe stay out and see what's going to happen. Can't be long. Being short is problematic. But most of my puts were in the November time frame. So I'm more willing to give a little bit on that. I've got some more time. But just hang on for a little bit. Okay, Them. Oh, that was a good movie, too. Forgot about that. We'll be in the Tom O'Brien hour at, I don't know, maybe 3:15 or 3:30. Don't know what we're doing yet, but we'll find out. But I'll be in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll be talking technology. A lot of stuff from last week we never got to. Some new stuff this week. So we'll talk about that. Maybe someone will figure out when it is next hour, but we'll be back in a second.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And what else is going on out here? Okay. Well, the first thing I wanted to do too is we did find out that insurers last night got a unwelcome notice, and that was that there was a provision of the Obamacare thing in which they pretty much illegally just threw a bunch of about $8 billion worth of money every year at the insurers. That had never gone through Congress, and of course, anybody that took civics knows that all spending bills must go through Congress. This was working its way through the courts. There was about a 99.9% chance that it would eventually be ruled on by the Supreme Court and ruled illegal, unconstitutional. It already had a couple unconstitutional rulings against it already. But it kind of just, Mr. Trump just pulled the plug on that last night. So what we've had is about $8 billion of free money rolling to these insurance companies to keep them on board. Anthem is one of them. Fairly decent volume today. Big kind of doji out here on the downside, 179.40. Looks like the next low on that one. 186.21 at the moment for Cigna. This one actually worked a little bit better. I think maybe a lot of this had already been thought of. Some of it had been in, but this certainly is the stronger one of the bunch. Anthem, of course, was down $4. This is just down 67 cents on the day. Aetna, AET, another one, it's down about 0.8%. But again, a lot of this may have already been down here. Interestingly enough, or at least not the kind of volume you look for in Aetna at a low. October 13th, which is all of today. 149.69 was the low, but just 1.76 million shares. That's just half of the September 22nd low at 150.43. So you've gone below it and closed above it on just half the volume. Actually, the energy's doesn't look all that bad. So maybe a lot of this already priced in. UNH down 67 cents. Another one testing a previous low. Now this one this is a good day because this one also had more energy to the downside and also has broken the September 22nd low of 188.25 that had 5.66 million shares with at least that volume already. Now it's recovered a great deal of that, but this is, of course, now you got basically one good-looking stock out of this section. So if anything does turn around, if you're interested in this, you know that you've got you've separated the wheat from the chaff in this one already. So that is kind of interesting. We'll look at some other stocks out here. If I can find the right ones here. Where is it? Is that it? Maybe it's this one. Take a look. Okay. We'll go back through some of these that we were looking at and see how they reacted. Let's turn that off so we can see it. Again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. This is kind of interesting. This is one of those for-pay educational companies in China. EDU is the symbol on this one. September 13th, $94.30. 2.3 million shares got into it. 1.67 million shares on October 10th. Coming up today on 1 million shares, so this is not backing away. Energy off the September 25th low is fairly light. Esperon Therapeutics tested its high a few days ago. Now this one was one of the easier ones, as the August 8th high was 4 million shares, a little more than that, 57.38. You spiked it by 2 cents on October 10th and have started to pull back. So you've got healthcare, bios look like they're one of the weaker part of the sectors out here. If there's anything else out here. Netgear, I wanted to look at this one real quickly and see how it ran. I got to sneeze. I'm back from my sneeze. It's just the air this time of year. I don't know what it is. I think it's all the humidity coming in and out. Netgear, we saw this one spike and talked about it a couple of days ago. July 27th had 1.6 million shares at 51.90. We went to 53.65, rotated on that, closed back in below that, and been moving down a few days. You're down a little bit on no volume here today, if that's even anywhere close. So we'll keep an eye on this one. But again, a lot of these stocks which got down on fairly strong energy for what should be a light August, like this one got to 44.10, then went up, and there just hasn't really been any significant energy or volume at the highs on a lot of these. NVIDIA did break out again today early on. Again, these things are up here kind of on the ether. The last gap up was on the 10th on 24.3 million shares. Today, you've got about half that. Doesn't look like it's rolling over, no signal yet, but just seems almost a desperate need to buy stocks up on these levels. To Sohu, S-O-H-U. Now this one is breaking out today with a sign of strength. SOHU, if you're looking for the symbol. August 1st, this was up on 1 million shares at 58.98. Not a lot of these stocks breaking with volume. This one is today. 3 million shares, 3.1 already on Sohu. This is one of those Chinese internet companies too. But it is doing it with volume. Let's go back and look a little farther. Is there anything in this thing? Okay. You're going back up now against the 71.78 high from June 12th, 2015. You got a couple of gaps at 69 and 70 to get through first. But this looks like the clean break of that. You got fairly decent energy and volume, at least today. It is a sign of strength. So this one could get up another $3-4 higher. Let's take a look at USG. We've been watching this one the last couple of days just because I wanted to see how this came back up, whether this is giving us a signal in the housing sector. We're back up into this gap, and this gap goes back to, what is that, the March 29th gap down that had 4 million shares. We're basically around 2 million or so. Today, just 500,000 again. I don't think that there's a lot of room to the upside. I see a lot of stocks like this. No real good signal of the market breaking. But at the same time, no real good signal that these things are going to roll over on Monday either. So looks like maybe we might be back to those dreaded doldrums next week, where we don't move it very far. Be back in a second.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Had a question from the den, and if you want to send one to me, you can always email me at path@tfnn.com or call me at 877-927-6648. or put a message in the den like this gentleman did. Question was, can you briefly describe the business of Red Hat and how their sales are given the connection with Microsoft.NET products? Here's kind of what's going on. Red Hat basically maintains and helps other companies out with a public domain operating system called Linux. A lot of people, in their basements write little pieces of code to add to Linux. Some big companies write their own stuff. It's all public domain, so everybody just kind of shares it. But a lot of times, if you're a big company and you want to build, let's say, 1,000 racks of something, maybe there's a piece of hardware that you want or something you need that's special that isn't addressed and no one's going to address in the open community. You can get Red Hat, call them up and say, hey, I need a driver for this piece of hardware that I've got here, or I've made my own piece of hardware and I want you to write the software for it. Because I need something special in this data warehouse, or I've got a software driver that I need for this brand new SSD drive I've got. There's a lot of times where you just have some kind of special use case where you might want to do something internally in your company. You need the software. You don't have anybody that's a specialist. So you go to Red Hat. You also have the issue with not knowing how to configure something. And you can always have Red Hat's guys either talk to you or come on out and show you how to configure maybe a data warehouse. And then you've got your own employees after it's all configured. So they do all the standard maintenance for something that actually is free, which is kind of different than most companies, right? They actually make it. These guys add additional value and support. Maybe that's the best way to describe them. Okay, now for what they're doing with Microsoft that was such a big deal. Linux really is not, and it is really not had its own kind of very high level programming language. And that kind of had been pushed by the folks at Oracle and Java. But very good, they call them IDEs, and that's kind of shorthand for the way that you program this stuff. I use a IDE that's called Visual Studio for Microsoft, and unless you're using it with Teams, it's free. If you're using it with Teams, excuse me, where did I do with that? If you're using it with Teams, then it's different. But here's a little thing that I just did to download the put call ratios from the CBOE. So you've got this little program and you've got all these curly cues and you've got all the stuff in here. And you could do that in like a word processor like Word or Notepad or something like that. But this basically does a lot of the work for you, organizes it, and even gives you suggestions. And this is what they call in the industry tooling. And tooling can make your life 100 times easier. The other thing is that this is kind of a high-level language, and high-level languages allow you to write stuff. And then if there's a big change in the operating system, you normally make that change at the lower level, recompiling the program with this IDE. And of course, it handles the change down below. For the most part, you never have to change your program. Maybe you just have to recompile it. Sometimes you have to, but I'd say 95% of the things that I wrote 15 years ago in .NET will still compile today. So without a high-level language, Linux has been kind of lost. So Microsoft decided to take, well, they've got almost 20 years in the .NET framework languages and apply it to Macintosh, Linux, and Windows. And it is open source, so whether you're Chinese or Russian, you can go in and take a look at it and make sure that the NSA didn't stick something in there. Maybe they did, but you're going to have to at least go through the code and check. But for the most part, you're not going to find anything like that. It's all open source. Gives you the opportunity to compile it yourself if you're nervous. But these whole high-level languages give you the ability to rapidly go back and do anything you want. And there's a lot of, like I said, tooling that goes along with that. That is, if I need to access a database, there's some tooling in there that literally allows me to put in one line to the database. Let's see where it's at here. I bet I've got one just a little higher up here. Here it is. Okay, here's a little thing to look at the lowest dollars in my database. And the way I access my database is one line, var context equals new stock quotes context. Now I can actually start talking about trade dates and how many days that I want this thing to go back. You don't really need to know that so much as instead of me writing 2 or 3 or 4 pages to just get to the database, I can just put in a single line here and I've got access to a database at a high level. And in this case, I'll just do it here so you can see. But once I use a period, then I get all the potential options in it, and they call this IntelliSense in .NET or in Visual Studio. But literally all I have to do down here is go figure out what I'm looking for, and it's got them all listed up here. So if I want to look at the total notional dollars or the trade date, just hit tab and it puts it back in there for me. But this way I can easily look at the last 1,180 trading days and look at just dates that are distinct. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds out here, but literally anything I want to do out here now, this thing will give me suggestions for changing it and maybe changing the way that I program these things, and that's basically a whole nother can of worms. But what I can say is that Microsoft over time has done, I'm going to say 98% of the things that you will ever run into at a high level that you need to program. So there's no reason for you to sit there and write 5 pages of code when you can do it in one line. And that's what they've done. Now they've offered that and done the work so that it will run on Linux and other things. So I can write this code, have it run on Windows, take the same code over, and for the most part, I'm going to say 95% of it will work right off the bat with Linux. There's not going to be any difference. And I can run that code, compile it, and run a program in Linux the same way. So it gives all the features that people have had of Windows, i.e. very good tooling and tools to create other programs. And really that hadn't been available for Linux before. So a great way for Microsoft and Red Hat to pair together. Probably too far in the weeds for most people. That's one of the reasons why Red Hat is going high.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And a little drift lower out here, but we're still up 4 points on the S&P Cash 40 on the Dow. Volume still always light, but it's been light for a while, so there's nothing really too new about that. Let's go take a look here. NASDAQ's up 17, crude up 86, so just kind of a light move into the weekend. I just don't see any great move down or move higher right now, although I'm fairly significantly bearish, so I could not be long. What else do we have out here? Facebook, kind of interesting to see Facebook get hammered this week, at least in the press, in front of Congress. Doesn't seem to have done it any damage this week. It is up light on light volume, 10.2 million shares so far compared to the 14 million share high on October 9th. But it's not generally the news, it's how the stock reacts to the news that gives you something you want. But bludgeoned and bloody up higher today. Same thing with Amazon. Of course, Hollywood rearing its ugly head, but not changing Amazon's futures that much. It was up a little higher on light volume today. Question is whether or not that's always a huge forgotten story by Monday. My guess is that we're still looking at Amazon wanting to get up to the 2030 area for expiration next week, which is midway in this gap down on the 28th of July. So that's gap down's only 7.7 million shares. So, could you get up there? I think you could. It's going to be hard to break that. But the question is, they didn't have the best week either, but the energy's not all that bad from the September 26th low out here. So I still can't say that Amazon is ready to roll over or do anything kind of horrible like that. Let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook had, or not Facebook, I want to look at Netflix, NFLX. It had everybody, including the jockey, whipping this thing all week long. This one had 10, 12 different upgrades this week and just basically went sideways. Hit $200.82 today, kind of pulled back in below 200. it's been a week where there's been no volume in Netflix really to speak of. You basically started off with 7 million shares, 6 million shares, 6 million shares, 7.7 million shares, and this was been the bigger of the volumes out here with about 10 million shares so far today. And of course, that's compared to the 15 million share day on the 6th of October here. So, and then the day before you had 19. So you did kind of go up. You got a sign of strength. You broke above the 189.95 September 21st high. You did so with volume, so you had a sign of strength. But it's really just kind of gone sideways since and drifted along. I'm not exactly sure why everybody thinks Netflix is going that much higher. I wouldn't be shorting it right now. But again, I really am nervous about stocks that have a very low barrier to entry. And Netflix is one of these companies that could anybody that had some juice go back and do the exact same thing? I think they can. You saw that in Amazon with their Amazon Prime Video. The question is, Netflix is a one-trick pony where if things get bad in the video portion and get more competitive, it's much tougher for Netflix. They don't have any more legs on their stool. Basically, they're on a one-legged stool. If their business does not go great, they don't have their fingers in any other pies. And again, like I said, barriers to entry, just not that big. You've got Apple wanting to get into this thing. Apple actually talking about spending somewhere between $3 and $4 billion next year in developing their own unique content to go on their system. You've got, of course, Amazon already big into that. I always love the Bosch series on Netflix. Besides, if you like, I think if you like Justified, you probably like the Bosch series. I read all the books a long time ago, so I was pretty familiar with what I was going to get. But up on a little pop up here, not much going on. Question about Apple. To see if anything else is going on here. Like I said, very strange to not see this thing close at a strike. 157.50 would be the nearest strike on this today. And it's starting to move its way up there, 157.16 right now. So watch how close this gets. But Apple may have more money bet on it on a weekly basis in options than literally anything else ever has on a monthly basis even, or most stocks ever have on a monthly basis. They are absolute wizards at killing off the easiest strike on that. And, of course, 155s, 157.50s, and 160s are the main ones out here. But we'll see how close this thing gets to hit 157.50 today. My guess it would. Go Seabiscuit. What's this about? Okay. What else do we have? Question on the TLT. Of course, we had a lot of rock and roll on the CPI numbers this morning. What you come to find out is that 90% of that CPI move that everybody was kind of shocked about was all about the higher price on gas that couldn't be delivered. We saw gas go from $2.15 a gallon down to $2.80 a gallon during the hurricanes. And that's what that whole CPI kind of thing started to leak early, started to see gold move. Everybody didn't know what was in. And that's why you kind of saw a lot of things changing. We'll look at the, what is it, the GLD. It's up significantly, but, and the GDX, yeah, it says GDX. I mean, these things had some real fast moves and then kind of drifted off throughout the day as everybody started figuring out that a lot of this movement had to do with the hurricane. And, you know, as soon as those hurricanes are over, things kind of get back to normal. So this one, you really have to look at out here if you don't want to pull the trigger on this thing for an ABC down, because this is probably the perfect pattern if you're thinking that the bonds are headed, or at least the TLT is headed lower. this gap down on the 27th of September. It did so on 12.2 million shares. Today, you're up on 5 million shares. And you're right square in the middle of that. If this thing was to be an ABC down, which you'd want to look at today, let's get this back here, right there. That sets you up for a 1-to-1 at 119.41. So I don't know if I'd do anything today on this, but if you start seeing weakness and this gap up this morning start to get closed on Monday, you know, you had a lot of energy coming up, but you've really just filled half that gap, and you've done so on less than half the volume today. 5 million shares to the 12 million share down day of the 27th of September. So I think we're going to get a good signal on that Monday morning. We'll be back.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Come join me next hour as we bisect and dissect these markets. Right here on TFNN. Wow!
Well, we get to the end of the show, up 4 on the S&P, Dow's up 40, NASDAQ's up 17.5. Crude oil's up 86 cents. So Microsoft, question to take a look at that one real quick. Just up here, a little doji, no volume really to speak of. What do we got? 7.8 million shares, 16 million shares yesterday. So, yeah, I can see a lot of people. If I saw a lot of option makers, market makers pushing for lower prices today, which I haven't seen, I'd think, can this pull back 50 cents? I think the answer is yes. Would it make a huge difference? in everything that's going on. I don't think so. Single stock's not going to. Again, my thoughts are that we could see a very flat week next week, at least into maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I don't see a lot going on in that. Same thing when you talk about Intel. Up today, it was down yesterday on 18.2 million shares, up today on 10 million shares. But again, Monday, Tuesday, could this thing just go sideways and start wishing out? It can. Has not broken any kind of upswing in this thing. As I said, I don't know, whenever this was, 6 weeks ago, thought this thing had the ability to break out of its long-term trend. So you had that long-term trend up. And I don't know if there's a lot more left in Intel, but at least in the short term. But I think you're kind of seeing these old companies come back and run for a little good. Of course, Microsoft was the first one, and I kind of liked it better back when it was about like, what, 25 or something. If you wanted to hang on to it for a long time, that one looked fairly good back there. Intel looks kind of just the same way. But again, you've already had your big run here for this thing. It's got a lot more shares. I think you'd probably want to wait for a decent pullback on this one. But things probably the worst is over for Intel. As we've talked about many times, got a lot of new products coming out. We'll talk with Tom O'Brien about technology in the next hour. Don't know when, but we will. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. And I'll see you here tomorrow, or actually Monday. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.